Gary, sometimes we've already established we're so excited to be back in person talking to each other. Sometimes you get a great week, especially for a show like this where we're doing lots of translating. There's so much content out there. In fact, so much so, we had to dust off the tried and true truth translator. That is so much alliteration.
As only we can do it. Also, did you know that Elle hates the word content? She hates the word content. But as a true professional, she grinned and bared it and said it for you. Let's translate.
All right. So the first thing that we're translating is Jaylen Brown caught on camera saying he doesn't think that Bronny is a pro. All right. So he's with his girlfriend, Kyrie Grazik, gorgeous, and Angel Reese. They were former teammates on Chicago Sky. Just to give you a little backstory, she was cut recently from Chicago. Okay. So they're attending a summer league game. It's Bronny's game, and they're watching. And the first lesson that Jaylen Brown had to learn in this situation is that you are a big enough star and a big enough name that if you sit courtside at any major event, there will be a camera transfixed right on you the whole time. Yeah. And some kid's just sitting there hoping that you give him something for social media. And certainly Jaylen Brown did by, oh my God, you guys, telling his truth by saying, I don't think Bronny is a pro. Now, aside from the lesson that Jaylen Brown had to learn, this is absolutely asinine that people would think.
There it is.
There it is. This is stupid that people would think. He's just like,
I mean,
and then his girlfriend says, she says, I think he'll be on the G League team for sure.
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't think so. I think because of his name, he'll be on the Lakers. Now, before any of you take this is a hating approach. First of all, Jaylen Brown is uniquely qualified to say whether he thinks Bronny is a pro because he is a pro.
Prove it. List his credentials. What has he done recently?
What's he ever done, this guy?
Couple MVPs.
Second of all, there has been story after story after story that allegedly Bronny does not want to be a two-way player, does not want to play on the G League, wanted to be with a team that would assure he would stay in the pro. So that's not some reach either for him to say he ain't going anywhere. His dad's LeBron James. You think that LeBron's going to be like, you know what? We good. Now, if LeBron, I do actually believe that apart from having like his son as some pet, which is what people have described that he's doing, if LeBron thinks that his son will get a ton of value from going down and playing in the G League in order to ultimately become a great pro, I don't think that he would stand in the way of that. But I do believe that LeBron at some point is going to go, I think the tutelage under me is going to do more for Bronny than sending him to the G League. That's what I think, right? Also, that's not hating. That is Jaylen Brown's opinion. Gary, I have no idea why this is a thing, and I have no idea why he then backtracked, did Jaylen Brown. A little bit by saying, it's a flex to have your son alongside you in the NBA. It reflects greatness and longevity. Bronny has all the tools around him to be successful. I look forward to watching his growth. He never should have backtracked on this. Jaylen, nothing that you said was inflammatory.
I don't think that he backtracked at all. I mean, the last sentence hangs pretty heavy and true. Like, look forward to watching his growth, which means he's at the floor right now. And also, I will give you a shade of conspiracy, okay? As it relates to the truth translator, which I think we can all agree to a man that there's nothing to translate here. What he said is just fact. I mean, it doesn't take a CIA operative to break down and decipher what he was saying to that point. Jaylen Brown is a superstar in the NBA. He knows when cameras are around. You walk into an arena and people are going to know who Jaylen Brown is. You see these guys dap each other up and talk to each other post-game or even during a game. What do? It's always bring you in real tight, cover your mouth. I think he wanted cameras to catch him saying that. But again, he's not saying anything to your point that's inflammatory or that's untrue. He knows he's sitting courtside. He knows he's sitting baseline. He knows he's in the headline based off of what he was saying about, being snubbed off the USA men's national team. He knew cameras were on him 24/7, 365. He wanted that to be caught.
I don't think he did, Gary, because that feels like he tried to soften it with the tweet. The tweet of him sort of being like, let me soften this a little bit by saying like, oh, it's just such a great flex that you can't, like, he felt some kind of way about the backlash he was receiving based on what he said.
Sure.
And I think that he shouldn't have felt any kind of way about it. He wasn't nasty. That wasn't hate. We are so busy looking for any reason to be outraged about things that we don't even actually put it through the prism of experience. Jaylen Brown is experienced enough to say, I don't think he's a pro. That is an opinion. What is wrong with that? Now, hate is him saying, Bronny James is the trashiest basketball player I've ever seen. That is hate. That is not an opinion. That is just an insult. If you are one of the best players on the planet, by God, you get to say if you don't think someone is. And what is wrong with that? I am so sick of it.
We're in lockstep. But Jaylen Brown, I think part of him wants to be like, man, I hope he's in the NBA because I'm going to cook his next season. Watch me dunk on you, and then I can tell LeBron, I just dunked on your little baby boy.
He ain't going to do that either.
I think both things can be true. I think that he can be truthful in what he's saying, that it's not shade, it's just truthful. But also, like, I wouldn't mind that people knew my stance on this.
Sure. I also think that, like, there was something that needed a little bit more clarity because Jaylen Brown's been subtweeting.
Correct.
The idea that he hasn't been able to get on the Olympic team, and of course his teammate Derek White was chosen, and that caused a whole hullabaloo, and you know he was tweeting random things. And so I do think he needed to run his tweets through the truth translator, and he addressed that at the Summer League.
And what was the balance for you between sharing some of your frustrations in the process, but also congratulating him in that moment?
Absolutely. I called Derek right away. I know, just to make sure there's no confusion, like my love for you and all of that, you know what I mean? So, like, he knew that, and he did. And but, you don't always got to make anything public, but me and D-Watt are good.
And there you go, right? He cleared it up. And both things can be true, that you can feel snubbed and be disappointed that you were not selected on an Olympic team weeks after you just got finals MVP.
Correct.
After just proving that you were a clutch player who can carry a team to a championship. It is okay to feel snubbed and feel some type of way and also ultimately be happy for your teammate. Both things can be true.
Definitely. Also, shout out to Jaylen Brown for being an old soul and picking up the phone and making a what?
A call?
An old-fashioned phone call? Derek Carr's like, what the hell is this?
Would you use a rotary too, you old man?
10-10-220. Make a collect call for 99 cents every minute. I honestly think when you strip away like all of the drama that people are trying to inject into this whole like snubbery thing, it really is more of a compliment for Jaylen Brown not being put on the national team. They're basically like, dude, you are too good for the role that we need at this point. A Derek White, a guy who could facilitate, come off the bench, and like contribute on the periphery. Because like, yes, this team is stacked, it's loaded. You're too good of a player to fall in line with some role that would be beneath, truthfully, beneath what your skill set and what your last 3 months of basketball has proven you are. If you look at it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think
trust me on that. Bro.
Derek White can come off the bench and get buckets. Like he can get some threes for you, and he's a good perimeter defender, and he's a solid role player. So if that's what they were looking for,
Jaylen Brown is not a role player.
He's not a role player, right? Period. So I don't think there's any grievances there. My favorite sound as we get ready to put away the truth translator happened from Las Vegas Aces star, Asia Wilson, because it was a big deal. Usher came to see the Sky and the Aces play, and despite a fantastic game that saw the Sky ultimately upset the Aces, all anybody is talking about is Usher was in the building. The reaction was great. There's video everywhere of the women reacting to Usher being there. I mean, who wouldn't? He's the greatest.
Come on.
But this was sort of caught on camera, and I thought it was hilarious. And apparently, again, everyone was outraged. Here's what Asia Wilson said about her teammates. Okay, well, we are not actually hearing
Again,
it.
Don't need a CIA specialist to read those lips. Something about what the F did y'all do? Now y'all worried about taking pictures with Usher.
She said they ain't did all day, but they want to take a picture with Usher. When I saw this, I thought it was hilarious.
Because it is, Elle.
I thought it was funny.
Correct.
She's ribbing her teammates.
Yes.
She's talking about the ones that legitimately are dry. They don't even have to shower.
Yes.
You know, they're the ones that can go do just like what my husband likes to.
2.5 a week.
They call a hoe bath, where you just kind of, you just take a rag and you just hit the pits a little bit because you didn't even sweat. That's who she's talking to.
If that's a hoe bath, I just think they need to concentrate on a couple more areas. Is all I'm saying. If this is a hoe bath, all I'm saying is go low, ho. Anyway, sorry, I had to pivot. Omar always be coming up with the.
Yeah.
Come on, Omar, you can get me in trouble. Anyway.
He'll be like, I got 5 minutes. I can take a hoe bath. And apparently she had to apologize for this because people didn't
I'm sick of
take
the
it for what it
apologies.
was, which was it's just fun ribbing. Like
Yes.
we rib each other. I'm so tired of people having to apologize for absolutely everything. It's so annoying.
It's the sensitizing of this great nation. You know, I think that apologies need to carry more weight, all right? If we just throw out an apology for everything, then the apology means nothing. A'ja Wilson, you are quite literally the MVP of this league, the most valuable player in the league, which means you are the most important, valuable player on your team. You can get away with and say anything that you damn well please, because oftentimes when you say it, everybody else has to fall in line, because you know why? You are the most important player, the most vocal player on the team, and this is hilarious.
This is not any meaner than the I say to you every single week.
have to bring that up.
And trust me when I say there will be no apology coming ever.
That's what I'm saying. This was good for A'ja Wilson, which, by the way, we know that, like, famously, she is an Usher stan.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she was freaking out when he came over to serenade her a couple of weeks. Which, by the way, A'ja Wilson is making the rounds with, like, best athlete in a women's sport, best WNBA player recently at the ESPYs, and, like, she joined SportsCenter not too long ago. People need to be A'ja Wilson fans, is what I'm saying. Like, we're propping up the right person here in the WNBA. She's awesome. Every time she's in front of a mic, it's awesome.
She's a great role model. She's a great businesswoman, and more importantly, she's the greatest basketball player currently on the planet.
Ooh, I thought you almost said of all time. I was like,
No.
don't be getting us in trouble.
Oh, I said currently
Okay.
on the planet. Speaking of getting in trouble,
Yes.
somebody had an incredibly embarrassing moment and will now go down as the worst blank of all time.